Okay, so the markets came down a bit more today. We touched this level here. This is really the first level of support that I can see. A level lower, if we do that tomorrow, that'd be quite the big sell-off. That'd be a gap fill touching this horizontal and the ascending. So that should really be support. If we look at gold, I mean, that was pretty correlated too. Look at this ascending, very strong. We touched that and bounced. So that was perfect timing, let's say, along with the S&P. So gold bounced nicely. It's still a red day, of course, but we're still pretty much at the highs. I mean, above 2,900. That's pretty much all-time high territory. So gold, not bad. Silver did come down. That's typical. It comes down more, especially with the markets. Didn't really hit support. You could say it hit the low of this level, but basically it's just it bounced when gold bounced and the markets bounced. We did outperform on the bounce, I believe, especially on the miners. Let's look at the miners. Okay, here are the weaker ones, the GDXJ, but that's quite a decent bounce. I mean, that's the middle of the road. For me, that even outperformed silver, so that's okay. We're not really hitting any support. It just again bounce when the metals bounce and the markets bounce. So, there we are. Not really. We're kind of in no man's land, at least in GDXJ. We look at SILJ, that's weaker. We did close at a level. It is what it is. I think everything is just sort of correlated. So when one thing bounced, the other things bounce. So we've come down quite a bit in SILJ. SILJ hasn't been that strong anyway. If we look at the more senior ones, that's a pretty good bounce from the low, right? Look at that. We've made up more than half for sure. We end up closing pretty much around yesterday's low of day. So that's pretty good for GDX. We're still so close. I mean, not so close, but pretty close to, the highs that we were at a few days ago. And that was just on our way to the absolute old highs. So GDX is pretty good, I must admit. SIL, that's not as weak as SILJ as usual. That closed above yesterday's low of day. We bounced perfectly on this level. So some of them bounced on the level, some of them didn't, but it's just, because the S&P bounced, the metals bounced, that the other miners bounced. So, and that's actually quite a decent bounce from the low again, made up more than half for sure. So that's pretty good, all things considered. Wasn't the most brutal day, not even down 2%. So, and we had some stocks absolutely obliterated, like Tesla, MicroStrategy. I like to see that. Let's look at the portfolio. Newmont all the way down. Look at this, another one that bounced perfectly on the horizontal, right? That little mini gap zone, perfect bounce, sort of stopped halfway through. We're in the middle of no man's land. We have levels. It's just these 3 days. Normally, for me, you got this 3 day rule, 1, 2, 3, and you should have a green day tomorrow. I expect a green day. So, we could hit this and retrace a bit. I think resistance should be around 44. But if we have a strong day, then I'd say it's 45. I don't want to put too many levels in. I just want to give it some time, but I don't expect a red day tomorrow. We could end up red halfway through, but we're at the beginning. But I do feel like there's going to be a green day, Newmont included. Barrick Gold bounced off here. You can see that was resistance, and therefore support for me. Good bounce, really good bounce, outperforming Newmont. Barrick is strong, relatively speaking. And if we have a green day tomorrow, we could go as high as like 1850-ish, maybe higher. And that puts us straight away in like a very strong momentum. So Barrick Gold, if there was no market drop, I think it would be going up to the 20s here. So that's pretty good, I reckon. Agnico, just amazing, basically unchanged. Uh, really good, always strong. Even after bad news, or let's say not overly positive news. So Agnico, you just cannot complain holding that. And I reckon the next earnings are going to be good for a lot of companies, Agnico included. Gold is still very, very high. Pan America, that's pretty good. That's pretty good actually. If you consider the fact that silver was down quite a bit, I mean it's down only 1%. That's good. Basically closing above support. I mean it ventured below it, but on the close basis, it's been closing above it constantly. So good. So for me, my four strongest stocks, they're doing very, very well. Wheaton, I mean, that's the best one so far. That was green. That's kind of ridiculous on a day like today. That's very, very, that's just going to be a bit of an Agnico, We're going to be at all-time highs on any bounce day, like one or two up days, and you've got a Wheaton above 70 close and just rocking onto new all-time highs. So Wheaton, amazing. Best one, I think, of the day. Franco Nevada, pretty good. I mean, this one hit its resistance. It's come down to old resistance, so that's support. Bounced off that. Another very, very strong one. That one also was doing very, very well before the drop. So that one wants an excuse to go back and test its old highs. Okay, Metalla. This one's come down again, like yesterday, I think I was buying it. I don't even know if I got filled yesterday, but I did today. Basically, where I wanted to get filled yesterday. That's just for me very obvious support. Touched the ascending, also got this horizontal. Also, yesterday's low of day. This area here is support 280. Even where it is now, you could just buy it after hours 283. I think that's great. A bounce should take us to three. I don't know, maybe not in one day, but two, three, and then we'll see. This actually might not be resistance. I'm not that sure, so I'll just delete that. But yeah, Metalla, that's a good bounce zone. Next would be let's look at the silver stocks. First, Majestic. I mean, this one did very well yesterday. Today is just it's still within that tight zone. I don't need to change anything. The ascending support is still there. The descending line is still there for a breakout. It's a tight little wedge here, and let's see, bias to the upside, especially with I think a bounce coming. So let's see if we can test and close above 560. Otherwise, above 580 would really kind of confirm that we want to go higher. And that's pretty good for First Majestic, which has been weak for a long, long time. So that's not bad for First Majestic. Fortuna, woof, all the way down, testing yesterday's low. Okay, close. You've got to remember what silver did. I mean, this is basically support, right? We've come down how much? We've come down 20 plus percent. And this is range bound. This is, this entire area here is support between 420 and 4, I don't know, let's say 430 is support, 420 to 430. So I bought that looking for if we do move up, let's say this breakdown in the general markets is over, which it's certainly not confirmed, but if you do bounce from it, this will be an obvious low. I mean, look, it's been a low for months. So I'm happy to have bought around here. Let's see what happens. CDE. Now, this one has come down even more. One of the worst ones. I mean, for me, this little 520 was a support after 560, but we just closed below it. The next level is 460. That doesn't mean we go there. If we have a green day tomorrow everywhere, this will be straight away testing 560. I mean, that's probably going to be resistance, actually. That one I'm a bit more certain of, so I might just put that in, something like that. This, I'm just going to move it down because that's your new level because of today's low of day. 560 after that, yeah, $6. That would be a big, strong bounce. Probably even worth selling into it if you did buy anything here. I did add a little, it's just been weak buying, but I've been buying basically all the stocks the last 2 days. Almost all the stocks, I've just been nibbling them. So today was another nibble for CDE. For me, it was like no question about it, just nibble CDE. Let's see. I mean, that's quite a big drop. That's more than if we take the general high up here all the way to, that's over 30%. That's a big drop for a good stock. So nibbling authorized. Hecla, down we went. Here, I could see this during the day, like this double bottom here. Decent, okay, not too bad. Basically unchanged. Silver was down more than Hecla. It suggests that this is pretty much a bit of a bottom. So I reckon we're going to bounce tomorrow. 560, not that bad. I mean, if you believe in these stocks, if you believe in the thesis, when you see a drop like this, especially CDE, you just, either you buy it or you just got to doubt the general thesis, unless there's something wrong with the company. But I don't see anything really wrong, especially after a drop like that. So that's a good level of support. If we do go lower, then yes, this sort of 490-ish zone should be a nice level of support. Maybe five psychologically and also here, but Hecla looks good for me for a bounce. EXK has not come down that much compared to the other silver stocks. I think I didn't even add to this. I just thought, all right, if we go down again tomorrow, I'll buy EXK rather than the others. It was down a bit more than the others also, but okay bounce, finish in the middle of the road. This is actually now your real support. It's today's low of day, but you got this 340 just below. Should bounce. I don't know, resistance probably 390. I'm not sure. I'm not going to try and guess it, but not the biggest move. So I just sort of hold. Next, mag. Hasn't come down that much, has been pretty strong. This ascending support still counts because the close is above it. I could cheat and just do that to accommodate that. If we do go lower, it'd be quite a big move to go down to this 1450 zone. I don't see that happening. I see a bounce. I don't know where the resistance will be. This is too close. This resistance here, 1560 is probably, it's probably 16 actually, all things considered. So I'll leave that there. But strong, just holding. Or did I think I may have nibbled this one, but it's strong. It's like not as strong as Pan America, but that has not come down that much. So that's pretty impressive. ARMN, this one I nibbled again just because it's holding ascending. I think I nibbled on it again today. It's not that much, so whether I did or didn't, it won't even change much. But for me, it's holding the ascending support just on the close basis. It's still holding it. You know, if we do bounce tomorrow, we go maximum around $4. If we go lower, then probably test kind of this zone, if you know what I mean, just above 350. But just holding this one in no hurry. This is my weakest holding still. I am gold. Now, this one is in no particular support zone. I just bought it because I think it's a really good company and I feel like it's come down an okay amount, not more than the others, you know, not even 20%, but still, I think it's just a really good company, you know, like Newmont, really good numbers. And I just feel like gold hanging up where it is, this thing in a few months will probably be at 7 or higher. So let's see. Also closed near yesterday's low of day. A few of them did that. Nothing special, but I still added resistance. Nothing obvious until $6, and then you got the gap fill. But let's see. Let's at least see if we get a green day tomorrow first. B2 gold remains really strong, really, really strong after being really weak. This is I'm just holding. I'm not buying. I'm not selling. I'm just holding this. So no problem. I feel like talking about resistance rather than support on this. This 294. After that, we go straight up to the 320s. If we do go lower, then you've got this 270, which like it's also ascending horizontal. It's I think that should be strong support down there. So just holding that one. Equinox. Now this one had a monstrous candle, right? We got that. What is it? The merge with Caliber. Um, I mean, I think Equinox got a better part of the deal. I'm no expert in all this, you know, mining specifics and news, but I mean that candle suggests that. Plus, I've heard a few explanations. So Equinox got the better part of the deal. That's what the market thought. But down we come basically to the low of that day and its support because it was long-term resistance. And I think we're going to have a bounce there. So I nibbled a bit of Equinox, even though it's not exactly come down too much. I just feel like it's going to bounce quite well. So I basically nibbled everything except SSRM because I don't own SSRM because I'm all out around 950. This is just strong still. I mean, for something that's gone up quite a lot, huge candles, it's still holding up, flagging near the highs above 10. So that's still strong. And look at that close. That's still more than half the losses back. It remains strong. So well done for holding it. It's even a good defensive play. It's like gone down less than the others. And it'll probably go up just as much as the others that have come down more on a bounce day. So SSRM remains good. SBSW. All right, this one's not really gold stock. I think I bought it yesterday. It's not really gone down too much. Basically, oh no, it was down 3%, but it's kind of holding those levels. So sideways, and let's see if we pop. If we do pop this descending line, I think will be the resistance more than anything else. I'm gonna keep going. Eldorado, that one, or a subscriber asked about it. You know, it's come down. If I haven't looked at it in a while, but look at this long-term ascending support. We're pretty close. So imagine waiting at 13 and never getting it just because you're trying to be as cheap as possible. It's also hitting this level, which is pretty clear old resistance, right? We haven't tested its support, but we did the last 2 or 3 days. So, and now it's like higher lows. That looks strong. Close at high of day was a green day. That looks like it wants to go up. And even if you buy it now, or if you get lucky and wait for it around 1350, which you might not get, it's the same thing. This one's come down quite a lot, even though it remains, you know, like 20, 25%. At the low, it wasn't even 30, so there's not much difference. That looks pretty good though. Just wondering if there's something here. I'll leave it anyway. But that one looks good for a move up. An update, this one should perform quite well. Probably close above 15. And then it looks like it wants to break out. So that's pretty good. Goldfield, That one, look at that move. Jesus. I saw it the other day. That's a huge move, 50% in like a few weeks. And still holding this level pretty much, right? This is like resistance, still pretty much holding around this 1850-ish resistance. Still very, very strong. That's impressive. If we come down, I don't know, maybe 18, maybe the gap fill just below, just around 1770 or just below. But that's really, really strong, actually. Given the move it's had, it's very little of a drop. Anglogold, well, I haven't done this chart in a while, but wow, that's a big, big breakout. Jesus. Big breakout there. It was forced to go back down. A bit of news. That's a bit wild, but still okay, right? I don't know who holds it, but that's pretty good. Novagold. I don't know why I'm doing everything here. I'm just going quickly. That one's quite weak. That was a massive breakout zone, retested and then came down. Novagold, yeah, it was a good bounce there, but it's just remains weak. Something that's hardly bounced. That's pretty weak. Harmony, last one. Well, I need to redo this. Another one that's a bit like Goldfields in terms of this huge move, but it's retraced quite a bit, way more than Goldfields. I used to like this stock a lot. All right, that'll do. I covered more than I usually do, but I went quite fast. Let's see. It's the market is weak. Some stocks are getting absolutely obliterated. By the way, I love this micro strategy getting pummeled. Peter Schiff loves to talk about it. This is the one where like I'm watching Bitcoin and MicroStrategy quite a bit because well, I was looking for this gap fill to complete and then an extra flush. Let's see. Bitcoin is obviously correlated to the markets. If that comes down a bit more, then you could see MicroStrategy down here, and you could have like this liquidation. I don't know the maths behind it, but that's it always interests me. Bitcoin, by the way, on this ascending, that also bounced quite well. Quite a few different assets bounced on their own ascending or their own support zones. So it was quite a coincidence to see all these correlated assets sort of bouncing and giving one another the excuse to bounce. I just I hope the miners just don't follow the markets too much. They usually do when push comes to shove, but I don't know. I also saw the GDX sort of outperform the markets on the bounce. They were higher highs, higher lows. That's nice to see. But I still think fundamentally we're investing in businesses, right? And these guys should be printing cash with gold where it is. Uh, Silver also helps. So eventually the market should agree with us. But you can collect the dividends and just feel pretty strong that you're, in a couple of months or 1 or 2 years, we should really outperform. So anyway, let's see. 3 days down, that should be enough. We should have a 1 day bounce. You never know, etc., etc. But I'm happy with my buys. I think long term they're going to pay off quite well. Also, another reason to always trim on the way up because you can always buy on the way down in little tranches, as I always do. All right, good luck.